Hey guys, welcome back. We are going to do some more face drawing here and get some more practice in. So let's start with this female here. We'll start with the profile. And here we go. Let's get the structure. So these drawings were done live and did them in class, but I thought I'd record them here so I could post them for you guys and do some more practice, because I could never get enough practice drawing faces. So, I mean, and I love it. I feel like I get a little better every season when I practice them. I don't know. So I think it's great to keep doing it. So I'll keep throwing some of these up. Now, the thing is that it is live, so I'm having to redo the audio and re-record it, because when I teach live, well, I'm in a big class. I got like 40 students, so I project my voice a lot more, so it kind of sounds like a yelling, you know, if I use a recording of the live one. But here, let's see how it goes. It'll be interesting trying to remember what I'm doing, but I think I can pull it off at least well enough. So here we got the structure, tilting the head forward, as always with the neck, and just trying to get the size of the head correct. Just remembering that the head is like longer, right, from the top of the head to the chin than it is wide. All right, so here, let's try and get the contour of the forehead here. And I really want to place the eyes in the right spot here. So they look a little lower than halfway. And, you know, given like this, that's pretty much par for the course when drawing females, about halfway or lower, maybe a little lower. So here we go. Let's see, just making sure with the pencil here that I measured correctly, using that as my ruler. And the thing that's interesting in drawing, or the interesting that's interesting looking back on the drawings, is that I can see more when I have the face right next to the drawing, right? So, you know, when I'm drawing, I don't have the picture right next to my paper. It's, you know, but I don't know, it's easier to compare. Okay, so looking at her eye sockets, and, you know, now that I got like the eyes placed, I want to see like how shallow they are or how deep the eye sockets are. And hers it's not very shallow, right? So I'm sorry, it is very shallow. It's not very deep. Her eyes are close to that bridge of the nose there. So I want to make sure I place it kind of forward. And again, that comes with different variety in people, but especially in ethnicity. So her being of Asian descent, right? You're going to have a little bit shallower of a face, I guess. I don't know if shallow is the right word. Maybe it is. But again, the eye sockets will be a little shallower. And in all these little variations, I think, are what really make people beautiful, right? And different and unique, and what makes faces so interesting to draw. Here's her nose. She's got like a I don't know. Her nose is like a little perfect. Like it's got that perfect 90-degree angle there. Just a perfect little right triangle. You know, tilted up, but just got that perfect little nose there. So trying to get that shape in here. And again, don't want to ever draw too much in one area. I want to keep moving along and kind of place everything. That way I have a sense of whether it's going to look correct or not. Okay, so looking at how deep now her, or how much further out her mouth, you know, or the muzzle. I hate to call it that because it's like an animal, but that muzzle, right? Your upper lip and your mouth and all that. How much further out it is from the forehead, and it's just a little bit. It's just a little further out. Again, not too much. All right, let's get her lips right here, and she's got a nice little smile. And then trying to look at the top lip and the bottom lip and what the angle is. Right, usually the bottom lip is a little bit further back. Kind of keep my eye on like how deep it's going there. And then obviously the shape that the upper lip makes. And looking back on it, I'm not sure I did. I might have done her mouth a little too big here. Well, I don't know. So I'm trying to look at the eye and see how far, how deep the mouth is, how deep that crease in her smile is. And yeah, I guess it is kind of right around mid eye, somewhere around there. I might have gone a little further. And this is one thing I could definitely see looking back at my drawing. I can see her chin. Hers is a little longer, and I drew it a little, not quite as long. Right? She has a little more chin. I gave her a little smaller of a chin. It's one thing I kind of noticed when looking back at my drawing and looking back at these, you know, when I look back and I see them edited. I see all those variations all the time when I do my drawings, and I try and edit them and make a video. But now that I'm, you know, re-recording the audio after, I get to comment on it. Right at the time when I'm doing it, I don't notice, so I normally, you know, don't get to comment on it. But there's always plenty of things wrong, right? I mean, this is not. I mean, it's drawing, right? So we're trying to capture it as best we can, and especially in a quick sketch, which is what I like. Advise. I advise always doing more faces than doing one perfect face. So I'd rather do a quick sketch and then move along. That's one other thing too. Drawing live kind of forces me to go a little faster. So my other face drawing videos, I went a little slower because I had all the time in the world. But here when I'm in a class, I actually kind of like it. It forces me to go a little faster, not take too long. And this is about what I want to spend, around 20, 25 minutes on a face. Kind of gives me enough time to capture it. I'm sure other people are faster at it, but for me, it takes about that to kind of get something I'm happy with the kind of level of detail I want to get to see if I was able to capture that person and capture their, you know, their features, capture their ethnicity, and capture, you know, a little bit of their personality maybe or whatever. That gives me enough time to do that. Okay, so kind of reworking the eye here. I think it just isn't quite as wide as I first drew it, in terms of the eyeball and how much we can see. All right, I'm trying to get that little arch in her eyebrow, and just trying to place it here. So I went a little off there. Let's try and do it again. And again, from this profile angle, everything's really shallow. So, you know, got to keep everything really, really kind of tight and close together. All right, got the upper eyelid there, which is typically what, you know, you'll see in your average person. All right, let's just see what I got here. Okay, trying to get that nose correct. Something looks a little off to me about it. But let's see. I think I drew the nostril too much right here on the rough, on the top. But I think it's about time I start getting some of the other features in there, like the hair, hair in the ear and stuff. It's hard to tell if I neglect it as long as I did here, which I don't normally want to neglect it this much when I get that much detail. But it's hard to tell, you know, if you don't have the hair there, it's really hard to tell if it looks like the person you're drawing. You know, hair adds a lot, and you know, it just, I mean, gosh, a person can look totally different, right, with a different hairdo. So it's better to get that on sooner than later. And I think I have a tendency to leave it a little too much to the end, where I think it'll help me assess my drawing a lot more if I get that hair on sooner. So it's high time I get that hair on right now. And so I can really see if it looks like this, enough like this person for me to be satisfied with the quick sketch here. All right, so I got a little bit of the ear. Just kind of trying to line it up with that nose there, right? Lined up right across from the bottom of the nose. All right, and I can just see a little bit of, you know, of it there and a little bit of the inside. All right, let's work the hair around it. So looking at how far back, not how far back, but how far down the hair goes when it's going up into her ponytail, and kind of looking across from there from her mouth, and then kind of using that as my judgment to how far back or how far down to start the hair. All right, then you got all these little curls here for the ponytail, which are kind of fun to draw, right? I mean, it's really, I like try. It feels like, sometimes it feels a little daunting, like, oh my gosh, look at all those curls and stuff. But it's fun to kind of find him and find those big chunks of hair to kind of draw. All right. I think this is enough here. Yeah. So I think I'm going to just switch to my darker pencil now. A lot of those little details in the hair, we just don't need to work out yet. All right. So knocking it back with my eraser. And then let's go for the details. All right, always, not always, but 90% of the time, I'm going to start with the eyes. And as I've always said, if I can't get the eyes right, and they look too weird, I might as well just abandon the drawing. Okay, and the eyes obviously tell a lot about a person and their personality, when you're drawing a character or drawing a person. Uh, they can, it's subtle a lot of times because eyes are so small, I guess, in comparison to the overall shape of the face, but they can really kind of change the look you give a person or that a person has. Then want to capture a little bit of that, the like the bag under her eye a little bit, and I don't want to make it too pronounced because it's not like I'm trying to make her look sleep deprived or anything like that. Like myself, because I always stay up doing too many art things or doing whatever. But I want to just give a hint of it there and kind of that shape, the little like, pouch, that little shape under the eye. All right, so here we go. We got a little eyelash up there, and just seeing it from the picture, you can see it kind of just hits the edge of the face, and I can on the other side of the eye, it looks like it extends from that nose bridge. All right, let's try and get this nose now. Trying to get that tip of the nose here, a little bit round and a little bit of a round, tip there, a little hint of it. There's like a little tiny bump on the, what is it called? I want to say dorsal, but I know it's not dorsal. Dorsey, right? Dorsey? I never can remember this. Oh, it drives me nuts. The from the bridge to the tip of the nose, whatever that long thing is called, something with a D, and it sounds like dorsal fin. But that little bump there, subtle bump, and then the little like round tip, and it's just so slight. But I love to try and capture that and see if I can get it a little bit because it adds so much when you add those little teeny variations that people have in their face. It really brings a lot, I think, to the drawing and making it look like a real person. All right, so let's get her top lip there, the bottom lip, and kind of looks like a little heart. If you think of a heart sideways and tilted up, a little bit like a heart, where the lips kind of, they bow in towards that little corner of the mouth. Okay, let's get her chin here. And then looking at the angle of the bottom of the neck, right? Because the jaw kind of goes up towards the ear, but then the middle of your chin kind of goes more straight back, or goes a little bit down towards the neck there. All right, back up to the forehead. Okay, let's get the eyebrow. All right, get that little bit of that arch there. It kind of gets really thin. All right, get that neck. All right, and then because she's smiling, we can definitely see that little crease. And trying to get that little round corner, like around the cheek there, and kind of goes straightens out a little bit, and then goes down towards that little corner of the mouth. A little bit of value just under the chin, just to help define our shapes a little bit. Also under the eye socket, typical places where you'll see that value, kind of like the go-to places, right? Will be here under the nose, under the chin, and the eye socket. So it might have made her nose a little long there. In terms of, not long, in terms of how far out the tip is. So I'm going to kind of shave off the end just a little bit. Okay, pretty much ready for the hair here. Even before I add the ear, I think I'll get the hair because it's kind of right on top of it. Okay, so the hair, once again, we're looking for those kind of bigger locks or these chunks of hair. And then from there, we can fill in some details and stuff. But yeah, we want to think of the big dark areas, the big locks of hair. Let's get this one kind of going across the side of her face here. And once again, we don't need to get the hair exactly perfect. Hair moves around a lot, but it's nice to always have reference because hair just does stuff. At least for me, I don't really think of, when I'm kind of drawing without reference, or just kind of, I don't know what to call that, free drawing. I don't know. I always feel like if I just look at some hair a little bit, it'll give me some ideas of the possibilities of what it does, even if it's not, I'm not trying to get exact representations of that. Okay, so here's the back of the head, and let's go to the ponytail here. This is where it gets more interesting. And so looking at this big kind of lock that kind of goes over and wraps around. And the hair kind of pulls in and tucks in there where whatever is holding that ponytail in place. All right, the hair coming up from the back of her neck. And then we've got some, just looking for those round little curls. And yeah, I think those are really fun to draw. I don't know, I've always liked big swooping curls in hair. And I see this kind of goes down and wraps around and kind of comes back up on her shoulder there. And just looking for some to represent, right? And some to capture. Again, don't need to capture all of them. All right, kind of looking at those stray pieces in the back of her hair. And I totally neglected this little part over her ear. So I'm going to get some of that. Like it's like almost like a sheet. I think of it like a sheet, I guess, rather than like a bunch of individual hairs. A sheet, and then I add texture to it. So it's like that sheet of hair going under this other sheet of hair, right? That's going up and curving towards that ponytail. All right. So looking for the way that it flows as well, right? The direction, like from the top of the head back to the ponytail. And then I'm looking for that little highlight right on the top of the head where that light is reflecting right on that top. I want to leave that light right here. All right, and then from here, just gonna fill in like this sheet of hair and add texture to it, and look for dark areas. I'm looking for dark areas. I can make little, these little dark lines, but I try to taper them, and then kind of fill in details from there. Again, not drawing every little hair, but kind of starting with the big locks and then moving to smaller and smaller little locks and kind of tucking them underneath each other, making some get darker. I've got a little strand of hair up there on the top. All right, looking at the ponytail now. Here we go. Let's start with this big kind of curl right there. And we got some behind it. And again, like I kind of can, like once you start filling in, like, okay, where do I start? But I kind of look for those dark areas, right? And start with that. Okay, before we go too long here, let's get that ear before I forget it, right? Let's just tuck that ear a little bit under there. And then I don't think I I didn't draw enough of these little strands coming down from the back of her neck. These little wisps, really, really fine hair. All right, back to the scary part, the ponytail. The thing that's nice about doing the hair last is like your pencil. It's sharp in the beginning, right? And then as you draw, it gets duller and duller. But when you're drawing the hair, I don't necessarily want that fine point anymore. I like that I have kind of a flatter tip here, so I can kind of block in areas of color, especially those big dark areas of color. I can get them a lot faster with a slightly dull pencil, right? And the other thing is, if I need it sharp again, you can kind of rotate the pencil real quickly, and you've kind of sharpened one side, right? As you use that flat area, it sharpens, the pencil from a different angle. But, for here, it's mostly going to be this kind of dull area, or this dull part of the pencil that I can use and just go for it and just get those big areas kind of filled in and get something in there. The portraits look a lot better to me with nice, dark values somewhere in it, right? Even if I'm not going for that, in the skin or in the face, it helps when you have at least the hair filled in with a bunch of those dark values. It feels more complete, you got to have some contrast in those images just to stand out a little bit. And obviously it depends on what you're going for and what you're trying to do, and if you're just practicing or not. But either way, I think it's good to practice drawing those dark values because it helps a ton, right? It makes that face, frames the face, and kind of like, helps your drawing stand out in particular. Or stand out. I don't know about particular, but just stand out from the blank piece of paper. You know what I mean? All right. So all these little tiny little locks of hair kind of wrapping up and going on the shoulder there. And it's kind of just endless, right? Almost like every time you look up at her hair, you can just keep going and trying to capture more and more detail. And at some point, just want to just call it and be, whether it's when it looks good enough, I guess, for this quick sketch. Okay, added a little value under her chin, a little more to bring it up towards the ear here, where we have the jaw. And I kind of lost the ear and all that hair and all that dark. So, and if I look at that picture there, it's quite a little shadow under that back of that ear as it's kind of under the hair, right, being shielded from light. Okay. I think we can call this one done. All right. Thank you for joining me, guys. See you on the next video.